Hey everybody, welcome to our first session on MailChimp. This is just a very quick introduction. If you're already familiar with MailChimp, you might want to skip forward. But this is for those of you who've not really had an introduction to MailChimp, just to kind of give you what it's all about and kind of the lay of the land of what we're going to be covering. So we're going to look at the different aspects of MailChimp. So in this class, we're covering, what I call soup to nuts, everything that MailChimp has to offer. So it's not just beginning, intermediate, advanced, it's the whole ball of wax. So we're going to talk about campaigns, templates, list, reports, and automation. And we're going to do individual modules on all of these as well, but this is, again, just kind of an overview of actual MailChimp features. So basically a campaign, and here's the kicker, is that within the different programs that are out there in the online business world, a lot of the definitions are intertwined. So a campaign is one thing in Infusionsoft, and it's something different in MailChimp. And a campaign in MailChimp, it's a broadcast. Okay. Those are also known as follow-ups in some things, autoresponders. Whoops, excuse me, back up. Campaigns are a broadcast email in MailChimp, which basically means you're sending an email just like you would out of Outlook or Gmail, but except you're sending it to a specific list of people from within MailChimp. A campaign in Infusionsoft combines several things, including broadcast. So just be clear that if you're bouncing between the different tools in the VA school, that some of the terms are going to intertwine and you could get confused. So just realize there's a difference between several of them. So for this lesson, for MailChimp, a campaign is a broadcast, and you can send several different kinds of broadcasts. You can send a regular one, which basically means it's a combination of HTML and text, which means you have your formatting capabilities. Plain text means it's stripped down. There is no formatting whatsoever. You can do what are called A/B testing, which is a split test. And a lot of times you split test because you want to check which one maybe is opened better. And like, for instance, you could try the same email, exact same email, but use two different titles, right, or subject lines to see which one has a better open rate. That's what split testing does. It really kind of helps you figure out which ones are performing better and allows you to tweak something that you already have to make it even better and more receptive to your audience. And then you have what are called RSS campaigns. And an RSS is basically a way you can subscribe to something like subscribe to a blog feed. You can actually use that as a way to send out your blogs, if you will, from within MailChimp. So that's what encompasses broadcasts, which are called campaigns from within MailChimp, just to make things confusing. Now, a template, this is pretty much the same thing in any program. It's basically your blueprint that you're going to start with for anything from newsletters to, which are also called e-zines, to broadcasts to something called File Manager, which allows you to actually create your own templates based on your branding or your client's branding, and then put them in the File Manager so you can always go back and get them. So you're rinsing and repeating versus recreating each and every time. List. Okay, so different programs have different ways that they work. For instance, ConvertKit, if that's one of the things that you've gone through, ConvertKit doesn't have list of people. It doesn't segment people into different lists. It segments them by tags. Okay, now, same thing in Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft doesn't have lists. It segments people by tags. In MailChimp, you have list. And that's how you segment a group. And what do I mean by segment is when you have a list, which is, your hopefully will become your sales pipeline, right? Which is part of your sales funnel. Basically, what this allows you to do is it allows you to put people on lists based on their behavior. So in other words, you could have a list for maybe a live event that you did. You could have a list for your lead magnet or your freebie on your website. You could have a different list for a webinar that you did. And the reason that you segment this is because you're going to communicate with those people differently depending on how they became aware of you and your services. So within MailChimp, you actually segment people into lists. Okay. Remember, everyone's a little bit different. So ConvertKit and Infusionsoft don't use lists, but MailChimp does, and that's the way that it segments. And they're basically made up, again, of contacts, which are also called subscribers. And then you also can create groups. And groups is a way just to group like subscribers or contacts, whatever you want to call them, together. And it makes it easy for you to communicate to more than one list by using groups. For instance, you could create a group of people from multiple lists because they all live in the same zip code. So it's different ways to take the subscribers on your individual list and create a separate group for a separate communication because you want to talk to them specifically because you're having a event in your hometown. And so you want to know who on your list is in your hometown and you want to speak to them specifically. So obviously it would be different to talk to them than it would be people who are not local. Okay, so that's list. Then you have reports, and reports are basically a way for you to look at things like open rates, bounce rates, click rates. And those are things that are very important when you're working in email marketing because you want to make sure that what you're sending out is getting opened, that people are actually interested in what you have to say. If you have low rates, that means you need to change your approach. The higher the rate, the better. So you can have reports on campaigns, which again are your broadcast. You can have comparative reports, so you can compare one reports to another. You can also compare different types of rates to another. And then you have reports on what's called automation, which is something else we're going to be looking at. And then there's your automation. So automation in MailChimp is what is called auto responders and follow-up sequences in other programs. So ConvertKit has follow-up sequences and so does Infusionsoft. So I'm not trying to confuse you, but the reason I point to these different tools is because they're all available here in the VA school and you're probably going to look at them. So I just want you to be clear that it's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to terminology, kind of like it is in the VA industry. So in here, automation is your autoresponders, but there's also some workflows. These are also things that are called triggers and rules. For instance, in ConvertKit, you have triggers and rules. It's the same type of thing that you have, but they're called workflows within MailChimp. How's that for just confusing you? Okay. I know it's going to take time for you to grasp all this, but think about the value you bring to the table for your clients because you can speak to these different tools and understand how they all work. And so client A can have MailChimp, client B has ConvertKit, and you can easily go between the two because you understand the differences between them. Now, there is a free version of MailChimp, which I highly recommend if you're first starting off and you're getting ready to, launch your business or you've launched your business. You need to have a lead magnet. You need to have a freebie. You need to build a list. And I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but no, you don't. I teach a sales class. I teach a class specifically on sales funnels, which every virtual assistant should know and understand. The benefit to that is you're more of an asset to your clients because you understand how sales funnels work, which a lot of clients don't. The sales funnels course is not part of the VA school. It's actually one of my business trainings that I sell separately, but you can find out the information on my website if you're interested, or you can certainly shoot me an email. But when you're working in any business, you need to have a sales funnel and you need to understand how it works. And just because you're a VA, you need one too. You need to have a freebie or a lead magnet, and you need to have a list of people that can get to know, like, and trust you. So it's easier for you to get clients when you have openings. So I recommend that if you don't have an email marketing system, you start with MailChimp. You can start with the free version. It has everything but the autoresponder piece, which is automation, and it doesn't have the workflow, but you can certainly get around that when you're first starting if you're building your list. So I highly recommend it. The paid version is, I think, $10 a month, so it's not a stretch, and it can be something you can work up to as well. So this was just a quick overview for you. If you need help, please feel free to click on the help button in the upper right-hand corner. Quickest way to get our attention is with that help desk ticket. If you prefer, you can send us an email, members@thetechie.mentor, or you can post in the private Facebook group, or you're welcome to comment below. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next session. Bye.